By the next day we come into the office, he had packed up the entire office and disappeared with our money. I said, I'm so sorry, I've lost all your money. It was the most devastating feeling because they were friends. I remember sleeping that night and having panic attacks. I mean, just panic attacks, and I'd never had panic attacks before. I think I would have done things the same. I'm a high-risk person. And the lesson I'm going to teach is going to sound very unusual. Hey guys, how's it going? This is my first video in my new office. Tell me what you think of the background and the sort of setup. Let me know in the comments below. I just recorded a video just now on things I would do differently if I had the chance to start again in business. I hope you enjoy it. Take the time to listen to it and let me know beneath what you like about it. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Here we go. What would I do if I was starting my businesses from scratch today? Okay, let me give you one scenario. So I trusted somebody with a portion of money. It was a six-figure amount. I was traveling on my way to see a client who had invested in this fund. And we had security set up and all that, so I could monitor the activity of the account through my phone. I can close trades, but obviously when you're on a plane with no internet, you can't control that. This particular employee of mine decided while I was up in the air to blow our accounts. I mean, we lost a large amount of money. I remember opening my computer to share with the client the good news because we had consistent returns on investment. I remember opening my laptop to show the client what was achieved and just seeing the amount of money dropping in real life, going down and down and down. And the horror and the shock on my face, I couldn't even hold it. I literally went, and they were staring at me. Americans, friends of mine said, what? I said, I'm so sorry, I've lost all your money. We had 3 accounts, but this account had their money. I said, I'm so sorry, I've lost all your money. It was the most devastating feeling because they were friends. And there were other people on this account who were friends. And it was the most heartbreaking moment, the betrayal. I remember sleeping that night and having panic attacks. I mean, just panic attacks. And I'd never had panic attacks before. And that to me then was a lot of money. It was a six-figure sum. I've since gone on to lose more. But I'll tell you, what happened after that was I stopped trading. That's my main bread and butter. I stopped trading for a long period of time. But then something strange happened, and this is where I'm going to lean into a bit of a lesson. Something strange happened when I got back to my game, trading. I became the best trader I've ever been in my life. And I realized something. It reminded me of a time I had a car crash. It was a real near-death experience for me. And after that car crash, I remember having this strange feeling of not being afraid of death anymore, because I had just faced the worst. I suddenly wasn't afraid of things anymore. And the lesson I'm going to teach is going to sound very unusual, but this is my lesson. Fail quicker. Because the quicker you fail, and the sooner the worst things that you have always been afraid of happen to you, you realize that everything you've been afraid of is a shadow. It doesn't kill you. It hurts, but it doesn't kill you. And once you've gone through it, you can face just about anything. And that was one of the greatest lessons I ever learned in business. I was listening to Diary of a CEO, in which the owner of Nike was being interviewed, and he said what he teaches his top leaders and executives is to fail quicker. One of my favorite lines is in my least favorite movie, Three Musketeers, the recent edition. And in the recent edition, D'Artagnan is about to leave his father's house. He's a young warrior, very excited, wet behind the ears, but he's excellent swordsman, very skilled, highly egotistical, not humble at all, but he's learning. And his father is saddling his horse, sad to say goodbye to him. He says, D'Artagnan, I want to tell you something. The young D'Artagnan says, I know, Dad, don't talk to strangers, play safe, don't trust people. He said, no, D'Artagnan, I've taught you enough now. He said, make mistakes. And I realized what he meant by that was take risk. And actually, I tell people over and over and over again, though I've had many failures, my current level of failure is somebody's prayer request. We call it failing forward. We all go to the gym, we work out, we exercise, we push weights, we do it to fail. So some of you may need to really go back in your life and find the person who broke up with you and just say, thank you. Find that person that broke your heart. Find that job that rejected you and just go, thank you. Because I think you cannot discover yourself till everything that you've put your identity in blows up in your face. Once it does, then all you're left with is you. And at that point, you would have discovered the greatest treasure. Everything you need in life is in you. And before you trust other people, trust the treasure that's inside you. And I'll say that's been probably my greatest lesson in business. If I had the chance to go back and do business over again and start from scratch, the thing I would do differently is I would have more confidence in my own ability than I do in others. I would first go to the extent of my own potential before I brought other people in. I had given large sums of money to people, seriously overestimating the value of their work. I remember giving a large sum to an individual in our workplace. He had an office right next to us, so I thought, we'll trust him because he's right there. Do our IT. Gave him, again, like a six-figure sum. Do our IT, finish it, get it done for us. By the next day, we come into the office, he had packed up the entire office and disappeared with our money. And I'll tell you what, I learned some great lessons even there. The first thing you've got to do is you've got to really vet people properly. You've got to take time. Don't rush on excitement. You've got to really analyze and scrutinize. I've learned to do more due diligence than I've ever done in my life before. And I'll tell you, I read a book once that said rushing to make decisions in business is part of the love of money. You just are so excited that something can happen that you make a rush in excitement. I do very little out of excitement now. I do a lot of what I do from scrutiny, from proper study. I'm first skeptical before I'm open. I'll scrutinize and find out what's going on, and ultimately I'll trust my discernment a lot more. But those are some of my lessons that I'll do differently in business. And my final lesson I'll say that I'll do differently in business is I wouldn't have started I think I would have done things the same. I'm a high risk person. I'm glad that I started high risk. Most people start low risk, then move to mid risk, then to high risk. I started high risk. You're talking about things that give 40% plus return, but also the downside can be just as bad. But what I've learned to do is when I make that reward, quickly siphon some out into your mid risk. Don't put all your eggs into the high, and then move some into some low risk options. So now, where I just don't think we have time to do low risk anymore. Low risk investments are going to give you like 5%, 10% a year. We just don't have that time. Inflation being what it is, I've learned find some pretty consistent high risk things, move some of that into mid risk, and then move a lot of that into low risk. But those are some of my lessons that I've learned in business. I hope you enjoyed that video. Again, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. If it helped you, let it help somebody else who you know. Now, I want you to know we have our event coming up. It's called Elevate, your chance to take your life to the next level. The year might change, but you may not unless your thinking does. We have an event with A-listers coming down. It's gonna be amazing. Make sure you click the link beneath this video. Information appears right here, but there's a link to register now. Do it now, don't sleep on it. Do it now and invite others to join you. See you at the top. Being in the sky has always moved me. Something about looking down at all the people whose many problems appear so big from the ground. It's in moments like this I realize the profound truth that up here our big problems appear so small. Perhaps our problems are not nearly so big. Perhaps we are not nearly so high as we ought to be. Elevate.